Okay, in this video, we're going to look at just a 3-mark question here, and we've got to write a bit of pseudocode. So here we've got a scenario where a student is developing a program to search through a string of numeric digits to count how many times each digit occurs. The variable in string will store the string, and the 1D array result will store the count values. So the program will check each character in the string to count how many times each digit occurs, record the count for each digit using the array, output the count for each element of the array together with the corresponding digit. So the array result is a 1D array of type integer. Okay, so 1D array of type integer. Write pseudocode to declare the array and to initialize all elements to 0. Right, okay, so that part of the question is quite easy. So we needed to declare the array. So the array is called result. So we just write in pseudocode declare in capitals, right? This is the way you would write it in pseudocode. But if you don't write it in capitals, you're not going to get penalized, okay? The pseudocode doesn't need to be exactly the way you would see it in Cambridge, the Cambridge exam board, but of course it's always helpful if you do write it as much as possible. So here we've got the array result, right? So write pseudocode to declare the array and to initialize all the elements to 0. Okay, so here that's two sections we have to do there. So what we've got here is declare result and say that that is going to be an array. So we do that in capitals. And it is, we can actually say the size of it as well. So the size of it was, I put the count, each digit occurs, record each count, type integer, pseudocode to declare. Well, here we just say array, and we're going to just put 0. I'm going to just put 0 to 10 as an example, but of course we can make this bigger if it needs to be, okay? Because here it doesn't really specify the size, and usually whenever you're declaring an array, you're going to be putting stuff in it. So the other thing was that the array was going to be a type of integer. So you say of integer at the end, like that. Right, then it says, and initialize all elements to 0. So here, this is essentially an empty array. So imagine how you would do that in Python. In Python, you would just write something like this, right? So result equals, and you do the square brackets, right? So this is, if I did a comment then beside it, a 1D array, but of course it's empty, right? So here we want to actually put everything inside that array, initialize them to be 0. So if we just go through the question again, a student is developing a program to search through a string of numeric digits, count how many times each digit occurs. The variable in string will store the string, and 1D array result will store the count values. Check each character in the string to count how many times each digit occurs. Record the counts using the array. Output that. Okay, so how do we initialize these all to be 0? So what we kind of want is, like, if you imagine in Python, we want something like this. So we want that, and I suppose you could do that in you could do that in your pseudocode like that. That'd be one way to do it. But of course, an easier way to do it would be to do an index and then just make the index 0 each time, and then always be sort of putting it into that, appending it. So the way that I would do it would say in Python you would do, right, so for, let's say for x in results, you would do result dot append, and then you would say 0 in there. So you'd be basically appending into result that every time. Okay, so 4x in result. So in this case, you would actually have to say in range, 4x in range. You couldn't do result like that. So you would say in range, and you would have to do in Python, you would have to say that you would want it up to 10. So you would just put 9 here would have to be, because it would be 0 to, well, sorry, 0 to 10. I think it would be the right answer actually, 0 to 10, so up to 10 there. And then I would put 10 zeros in there. So that would be how you do it in Python, which you're probably used to doing it like this. But how do we do that then here? So here we actually do need to declare an index of some sort. So what I'll do is just say declare, and here we could just give it like a name such as I. So declare I or X or whatever you want to call it, and then just say that that is an integer. So we do the declaration of it as you do in pseudocode, because obviously in Python we don't declare this X or I. All right, so declare it here in pseudocode, and then we want to just do a for loop. So we just say for I, and then here you say between, so I'm going to just do 0 to 10, and then here you do the result. Result would be I in here. So for the first one out of the 10, what I want to put in it, I just then append 0. Okay, and then here you just do an end for. So that's a simple one there for how to do this, and that would give us 3 marks. Now, I obviously did it quite slowly, showing you a little bit of the Python method of how to do that, where we're using this dot append. But of course, you don't really have an append option here in the pseudocode. So you're basically just putting that into this location. Now you could do the same in Python as well. You can imagine here I could do for x, or let's say you do use I, right? So for I in range 10 here, and then instead I would do results. So I can do it very similar. Result square brackets I is equal to 0. So it's almost the same. It's very, very similar. This is the usual way where you would append it, but here you could also do it like this, and then you see for each one within result, because it's I would be changing every time from these numbers, right? So starting off 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it would go up and it would put 0 in each one of these ones, and then results would be populated with zeros.